Today, here we go. All right, so today I'm going to talk about AI in the math classroom. I did this talk, as Eddie already said, in the fall last time, and there was a lot of follow-up with it. It's kind of an encore, but I also have learned even more since then, so I was going to throw in just a little bit of new advice as well. When I do these kind of things, I really enjoy cooperation. I am all about active learning, even in an online environment, if at all possible. So we're just going to jump right in. First, in one word, what is your first feeling about AI in our world? Just type it in the chat if you could. I'll give you about a minute, maybe. So just throw it in there. Overwhelming, curious, scary. I love meh. Helpful, trepidation. That's a good one. Inevitable. Ooh, creativity killer. Hesitation. Love it, but it makes it challenging. Awesome. Thanks, y'all. Concerned, intriguing. We are all over the place, which is great. So I hope what I can do can be extremely helpful to you. Helpful and scary, unsure. Yeah. Please continue to ask any questions you may have. I will do my best to try and follow them. It's not very easy on one screen here where I'm at currently. But Kim, if you need to interrupt with questions, please feel free to do so. I'm completely down with that. Frustration. Yes, I have had frustration with AI myself. It is a learning experience for us all, right? Okay, so I'm going to keep going. What I like to do is I like to use AI as my helpful teaching assistant. I have tried to embrace it fully within my classroom, within my experiences as a teacher. And what I have found is it has really saved me some time. Sometimes, yes, it will be a headache. I'm going to be completely honest with you. But it really does save me a ton of time because I'm a busy teacher. So I teach full-time mathematics at Randolph Community College. I'm a QM reviewer and, of course, Master Shell leader at my institution. I'm the PI for the NSF Action Grant that we just got in October. So all of that together means I am busy. So just like I know each one of you are as well. Because I'm so busy, AI really helps keep me as on time, on track as a little personal assistant. I use it for to-do lists, to keep track of. I actually have a subscription with Outlook right now, not Outlook, but Copilot through my institution. But then I also pay personally for some subscriptions. So both of my emails, I get little uh, reminders in the morning of things that I need to do, which is extremely helpful. Not all of them are great, but some of them really are. So I like to use that as a tool to save me time in my classroom, and then I'll also speak as to how I can use it in my classroom. All right, so helpful teaching assistant. Draft your emails, write weekly student reminders, summarize long committee emails. I don't know about y'all, but when I get a whole ton of emails, I like to copy them, paste them. I use Copilot when I'm at work because that's my institution one. We currently still do not have an AI policy at my institution. We are working on it. So just to let you know, you may all be in the same boat too. I just want you to be aware that I try not to put personal student information out there. It's just another side note to keep in mind when you're doing this. But I can use it to summarize long committee emails, generate letters of recommendation, and write discussion board prompts. I also will make sure that it's anonymous, but I will copy some student responses into my Copilot anonymously, and I will ask it to find me common themes or patterns. That way I can point out any misconceptions that my students might be having within the classroom as well. I also use it to design my course syllabus, tentative schedule, generate study guides, create frequently asked questions, and write clear step-by-step instructions. So every single semester, what I can do is I can take my syllabus from the last semester, throw it in to AI, and then I can have it regenerate one for this semester. I do need to give it focus. So that's one of the first things that I like to tell everyone when you're using it as an administrative assistant of some kind. Prompts. Prompts are vital. So when you're doing a prompt, you have to tell it what to do, right? So first I import my old schedule or syllabus. Then I type this prompt. And so I wanted to give examples of these prompts on here. And of course, I will share slides if there's a way that we are arranging that for AMATYC Summer Spark this semester. Just let me know. But I like to give it all the information possible. So I want it to take my syllabus and my schedule, act as a community college instructor, give it a job so it knows what it's doing, right? Then I give it the specific information of what course I'm using, and I will also tell it the text, especially if it's OER. I can copy and paste it in there as well so that I can, when I give feedback, it is aligned with what my students are used to seeing within their book if they read their book. I tell it the schedule should include 3 exams and 1 comprehensive data analysis project. As the final, the course meets Tuesday, Thursday. This is when it starts. And classes start on January 12th, right? So if you want to practice along, so you're not always going to see the beautiful screen as my backdrop, can you see it now or is it sharing just the PowerPoint? I'm going to let it share my entire desktop so you can see exactly what I'm doing. All right, so I take this, I copy. I'm just going to paste it into Gemini right now. It's creating content. Agree. This is one I don't always use. So because I didn't want to bore you with all of the details that I have in my current AI, because I use it extensively. But just go to, anywhere where you have this stuff stored. And so I'm just going to pull up a schedule. So the dates that I've given were actually for spring. So I'm going to go fall of 25. I'm going to drag my course syllabus. Was I getting it to? Nope, I'm going to do my tentative schedule. So I'm going to take my tentative schedule, I'm going to drag it in here and hit submit. And it shouldn't take too long, but it might take a little bit of time. So I just want to talk a little bit about it. It's not going to be perfect, but it does give me a place to start so that I can work from there. So it's telling me it spans 16 weeks, but includes a week-long spring break, which is 16 weeks of active instruction. And so as you can see, it is redoing my dates because what I gave it has the dates for fall. And so now it's just redoing my dates and copying down exactly what I'm covering and when. And I can give it more information. If I wanted it to make a chart like that, it would. Give it due dates. The more information I put in the prompt, the better my results are going to be. Does anyone have any thoughts, comments, concerns about this? Are you trying it along with me? I would love for you to do so. And if you have any questions, please let me know.
Carrie, we have somebody who said that their school doesn't like them to upload anything that's school specific. So I don't know if there's a way to address that or not.
That's interesting. Would that include a schedule? I would try to get complete verification on that. I completely understand if it's student identifying data, but the very first thing I do is I do try to understand my institutional policy, right? So at our institution, I can put things like the schedule in there because it doesn't have any kind of student identifying information. And other things, I'll copy and paste it, put it in a Word document, delete any identifying information, and then I can put it in. So that's how I've done it, but I would always check because I do not want to give anyone advice that would hamper them.
And There is a question that says, is your schedule supposed to be addressed to students or to other community college teachers?
Agreed. I would change that if it were me. So, like I said, it's going to pop out something and then I can work with it. So, I would go down here and I would ask it. Sorry, I've got to move the Zoom stuff around. Please make this schedule for my students. Do not talk about being a fellow community college teacher, right? Revise and provide a new full schedule. And you don't have to type perfectly when you get in here. So now you can see it kind of even took that out. This part right here, no, I don't even use it. You can copy and paste this down here. If you're in Gemini, you can go down here and hit these dots and it will export it to Google Docs. If you're in Copilot, it will do that to Word. It really depends on the different ones you're using. I'm not trying to promote anyone particularly, so I'll probably show you a couple of things or use a couple of things, but that is my thoughts. If I have formulas or tables or symbols, copy and paste, not using the same format, yes. I get that on ChatGPT all the time because, like I said, math. I do tell it to give me something that whatever I'm using can work. For example, if I had a lot of formulas, I would, in my prompt, say that you're preparing a document for Microsoft Word. Make sure that all formulas can be read by Microsoft Word. It will put it in like a plain text format. And as I've worked through, I've learned a lot of little shortcuts like Command Plus. I'm on a Mac, so that's not going to work for everybody. But if you have kind of some questions on that, I can try to answer them at some point in time. My email is on this slide. You're welcome to reach out to me. But I can just highlight it in the Microsoft Word document, hit Command Plus, and it automatically formats it in Word's Excel editor. So it makes it a lot easier. When I use Copilot, it will do that a little bit easier, but not perfectly either. So there are a few things that I have to do. I've learned some shortcuts with it, and I will be happy to share those specific things too. Any experience using AI to generate multiple versions? Yes, I do that all the time. So I will make one version of a test with AI. So I like to put in maybe a version I used last semester, or if I'm starting fresh from scratch, I will include homework problems I've made, stuff like that, lesson plans that I have. I'll put it in there. I'll have it generate a test. I'll work with AI to make it what I want. And then I actually have it make an answer key as well. Do not trust the answer key, as you are well aware, but I do have it make an answer key. And then I upload that and I tell it to make versions B and C. I teach with building thinking classrooms in my classroom. So my students are in groups of three. So when they are actually taking a test at their table, I have three versions. Then I just review through it and make sure everything works out correctly. Another big hint is if you use, for say, Gemini to make an exam, put that exam in Copilot and then have it find any mistakes. It's really good to go from one to the other. It can find its mistakes a little bit better. And I just do that to save time. There's still going to be things that I will have to do personally to make sure everything works, but it saves a ton of time without having to come up with new scenarios, come up with new problems, and inputting all of that myself. I have had it make an easier version as well. Be very specific in your prompt. Tell it to make a complete equal version with a different scenario and different numbers. And then the reason why I get it to do the solutions as well, if I see one solution is insane compared to another, I analyze that problem. That way I can make sure it's comparable for my students. Yes, Gemini is Google. So someone just told me that they used it for a welcome letter and it did perfectly. So that's great. I'm going to move on here to my next example of what I like to use it for. So another one is email and reminders. So I don't know about you, but my students need reminders on the weekly basis. I like to, we're using Moodle right now, but currently North Carolina is all moving to Canvas. So this will change very soon. But I will put in that schedule that I just made and I will tell it to make a weekly reminder. Then I can take that and I can make automatic reminders for my students. That way I do it one time beginning of the semester and it works for me for the entire time. So again, your prompt is very important. So act as a friendly and encouraging. I like to give it a tone sometimes because sometimes it will sound a little too professional or a little too wordy. I like to tell it exactly what I'm teaching, community college, so it knows my audience. I tell my math, draft a week 5 update email for my students and include these 3 things. And when I do this, it will exactly give me that. I'm going to actually try and copy that prompt. It is not going to be great, but let's see what Gemini does when I copy and paste that in there using this schedule. Also, when you copy and paste from Word, sometimes this happens. On the Mac, you can do Shift Command V and it will copy the actual words so it doesn't have to read it. I found that very helpful. That was one of the new things I've kind of learned a little bit recently. There you go. Hi, everyone. Happy week 5. We are officially moving right along. I am proud of the hard work, the dedication you've been doing. This week's topic, I make sure it's what I want it to say. I make sure it's using the correct due dates. And then I copy and paste and move it on. Right now, I haven't told AI anything about me, but I can tell it and it will remember if I'm within that same chat most of the time. So I can say to sign, please sign everything as Dr. Lineberry, and it will revise and it will include that for me. That way, I don't even have to change anything. So it can learn as I go and it can learn and continue to do that. Someone said they missed the first 5 minutes and they want to know how to start. In all honesty, I just want to kind of refresh real quickly on how I start with AI because I'm not sure if I covered it fully. I take all of my old documents and I import them. There's a couple of features that are good with Gemini or Copilot where you can make different things. Like in Gemini, it's called a note. There's Notebook LM, which I think they've renamed to just Notebook, and there's Gems. And you can put all of those things in there so it knows where you want it to pull from. I love Notebook because it will pull from that before going to the web because AI can hallucinate. It will find all kinds of things out there that I don't, that aren't true to my class. So import my personal files that I have created, and then I use that information to um, have it make what I'm working on. So that's all the prep I do. I find my old files. That's why you can see this right here. I throw it in there and then I give it a good prompt. And then I continue to work with it and revise it. You have to be careful with your revisions and your requests, or you will get frustrated because it might not know. So I have to say, please revive the week 5 announcement, blah, 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 so that it knows what I'm doing. So I'm going to go back over here. Another thing that I use it for, I use it to summarize big, long emails. Beautiful, beautiful. Summarize this 8-page committee email I'm pasting below into 5 key bullet points. It will give me that. Also, I have told AI what I want to focus on. I will say, you are my administrative assistant. I am a math teacher. I am the PI for the action grant. Read this email, summarize, and find the most important facts for me. And it will. It'll find the things about my department, my division, as long as I give it that information. And someone was just talking about the letter, the welcome letter, another way, a letter of recommendation. So write a strong professional letter of recommendation for a student. Here's some things. I tell it just a couple qualities about the student. It will give me a beautiful recommendation letter for this student. So I'm just going to take it, paste it, and let it work. I haven't given it this information, but as soon as I do, it will remember, right? And so, to whom it came concern, it's my absolute pleasure to write this recommendation, and it will make it to where it's talking about the qualities that I just gave. This saves me a ton of time. I'm not having to create from scratch. Do I have to revise? Yes. One of the things that I learned at a conference recently, I really like, and it is the AI sandwich. And so I'm not going to try to claim I made this. This is Freeman. He made it. I can give some more information on that as well. He was the speaker at the conference that I was at. But first, human first, right? And this is something I share with my students. Curiosity, prior knowledge, first draft, human ideas. Then you can work with AI as a co-thinker, clarify, extend, and make these things at administrative assistance, but you have to always go back as the human. You cannot trust it to make it perfectly. I am willing to share slides through email. I'm willing to share everything I have through email. So please just go ahead and do that. My email is easyca Lineberry, Lineberry at randolph.edu. It will work with Excel and with Gemini, it will even read Excel, but Copilot will probably read it better. In Gemini, I sometimes will upload the CSV file as well, and it will remember it. When it comes to my reminders I send out to students, I do two things. I do put it in my announcements sometimes, but within Moodle, there's a PLD feature on the back end that I can set them up to go out on certain dates, and that's what I do so that I don't have to forget because I like to send reminders on a Monday morning, but I don't know about you all. My email's normally pretty packed on a Monday morning. So, one more thing while I'm outside of the PowerPoint that I wanted to recommend that I saw at this conference is the RICE framework. And so the RICE framework is great. It's a foundation for reliable prompts. So first, give it a role. Okay, act as whatever. Then instructions. Tell it exactly what you want it to do. The more clear you are there, the more time it's going to save you later and the less frustration. And I have been at the frustration. I've been here typing and fussing at it, and people walking around are probably like, why is she yelling at her computer? But it's true. Next, give it context. Provide the background details, like a syllabus if I'm wanting it to copy it. Anything background details that I need for it to work on. Next, constraints, set the boundaries, specify the number of words, slides, bullets, right? So you can have it to make PowerPoints, you can have it to make so many things. I'm going to show you Notebook in just a minute and you'll see a little bit more there, but be more specific with it. And next, you can give it an example, providing a sample of a previous output so the AI can match the style and format you prefer. So I like to write it in my own words, and then I will tell AI to sound like me. Do not look like AI if I don't want it to. Another big use for this is when I get student emails that I'm tired of reading for that day. Maybe I've had one student send me like 20 emails all at once because they see email more as texting nowadays. So I will not copy and paste that in there because that's their personal stuff, but I will kind of summarize the situation and I will say, respond to this student in a polite manner because sometimes I need a little help to get that working. I'm going to say, if anyone has any questions or if Kim wants to speak up, I am going to go back to my PowerPoint, but in that time, please let me know. I also use it as my creative partner. So always you have to start with a prompt. So in my PowerPoints, I always try to include the prompt that I would use. So I tell it, act as a community college math teacher. Give it specifics. I am teaching this course. I need 5 creative real world problems on this topic of whatever. Make all the problems about the theme of this. The problem should be appropriate for a college level student. I will do this. Some of the time, it will give me some crazy things. I don't want to go through your questions really quick. So I'm going to try to go back, but if anyone wants to just type in a course name and a topic, I'll go with that. And we'll put it in to something else. And we'll see what it gives us. So I'm going to scroll down to see if anyone wants to do that. If not, I'll make up one.
Carrie, while you're doing that, somebody did ask a question and you may have answered it and I apologize about the limits of the free version.
Yes, there are quite a few limits. I have found there's a lot less limits on um well, I'm trying to think which software, but I don't know. But when there's a limit on a free version, I go to the other one. So there's a lot out there. There's Claude, there's Gemini, there's Copilot, there's ChatGPT. There's so many that I will just transfer to another one. And normally it'll give me a cool down, so I just tell myself it was meant for me to take a break and move on. But since I do use it every day, personally, it's worth the amount of money it costs. All right, so business mathematics, so simplex method. Good choice, because I'm not totally sure. So course name, so I'm going to say mathematics, um, teaching the simplex method. And y'all, I do not know what this is, but if I want to pick a creative theme, I'm just going to go, I don't know, animals. I have no idea what it's going to do, so we're just throwing it out there. Example one, the wildlife sanctuary diet. You guys might have to help me justify and see how great this is. But each pound of this food, this food, this food, how many pounds each should the sanctuary mix to minimize? And so right here, it's kind of given me the mathematical setup, standard formulas. And now these would not be this would not be something I could copy and paste or just easily put in Google Docs because I haven't told it. So in here, I'm going to say, revise the five, what did it call it? I like to go back here and talk about it. Examples of the simplex method into a format that Word can read. And I'm picking Word just because it's not this. And if you'll notice, it goes in here and you see how the formulas are now written? It works beautifully. And so if I wanted to copy and paste this now to Word, and I'm just going to copy and paste what it says, open up Word. I simply wanted to show you that I can highlight this. I hit Command plus. You can also just go up and say insert formula while it's highlighted. Well, now of course it's not working. Maybe it's Control. It's Control plus. There you go. And if you notice, it automatically put it in there. And if I can go behind this little one and hit space, sometimes it's not working right now. Maybe I need to do it right here. So you play around with it and you figure it out, right? But I go here, I hit space. Here, it made that a little bit better. For some reason, it's not putting it down. If it were an exponent, it would do it, if that makes sense. So if it was exponents and it came out like this, I could hit space, it's going to throw it up there. I think if it's a subscript, it needs this. Nope, I can't remember. But even if you need just a little bit, right, in here, if I wanted this to be a subscript instead, I just highlight it and I go up here to wherever the equation is, and I tell it the format that I want it to do. So I say do this one. And it'll throw that 2 down here. I'll do this, take the 2 out, and I can move on. So it doesn't always do it perfectly, but it does save me some steps. And it works good with formulas. I'm not sure if any of these were, see, these are normally subscripts, what we're dealing with right now. And honestly, subscripts are not the best for it. But like here, greater than or equal to, if I hit Control plus, I'm gonna take out the equals right here and go here and hit it. Well, it's not doing that either. Look, of course, I do this all the time at home, but now it's gonna be fighting me, right? So greater than equal, there it goes. Now it did it. I just had to type in, I guess it wants that first. So I just typed in the greater than symbol and equal. And so it did it. So then I would take it out. It does take time. It does take practice to work with it. But once you learn these little tricks, it works beautifully. And if I don't know a trick, I ask it, how, can I easily translate these formulas? I don't know if it'll know this into Word format. Okay, thank you. All right, thanks. Not too much longer, 10 minutes. So sorry, y'all. I'm actually at a PD with my institution. And so somebody just came in that didn't know I was doing this. So you'll see that in the video. Similar questions. My institution has been having ongoing discussions about students pushing back on faculty using AI. Interesting. We have a growing group of students expressing frustrations that they don't want assignments, activities, letters of recommendation that were created with AI. Some of the pushback is based on legitimate concerns. Yes. Some is based on the idea of fairness. If they can't use AI to create things, why should we? Ooh, interesting. So I'm just going to bring this up. I am okay with AI in my classroom. And one thing that my institution is now implementing that I learned at an AI conference not long ago is within your syllabus, using just a little icon that allows or shows when AI is allowed. I haven't made my syllabus like this yet because we're just now implementing it, or I would show you. But if you do get to do this, you can go to your syllabus and you can have it beside, say, homework. You can put a green check for AI. Beside a quiz, you can put a red X that says no AI. So that popped in my mind when I was reading this because I'm okay with students using it in my classroom, but I do work with them. I teach them how to write prompts, how to use it effectively. I actually interviewed a couple of students at the end of last semester that were our brightest at our college. They didn't know how to use it. And so they would use it, they would say, just give me the solution. And they weren't even wanting just the solution. They actually wanted step by step help. So I had to help my students know where to go. Khan Academy has a tutorial AI that works really well. And so you tell it to give you a thing, it's going to give you step-by-step guides. So I do give my students these prompts too. I tell them to copy and paste whatever problem they're looking at, put it in AI, tell AI, you are a community college student. This is the course you're in. I even tell them to tell them what textbook they're using and give me step by step guidance on how to understand the way to solve this problem. I tell my students that they can use AI to help them think, but not to replace their thinking, right? And I have not seen any issues with this in my classroom. Students will use it to summarize things and help them make some notes as well, because they cannot use it on other assignments in the class, like tests. So they can't use it within the classroom. So at some point, you're going to be able to learn if they have used it to think for them or if they are using it to think with it. Um, if students ask me if I use AI to help make a letter, I will tell them, but I will be honest and say I didn't put your personal information. You saw how I said Jane Doe. I can then copy and paste that out of AI and then put their name, if that makes sense. I try to be very intentional on never using students' information in any AI, even my institutional approved, because I can easily just replace it. I tell it to just call them student one, right? and then I can copy and paste their name and put it on the document. All right. So, a rubric builder. This is a great prompt and it helps me. I use this to build, I actually use it almost every single semester. And I'm going to pause in just a moment for questions. But I type this prompt in and I tell it to make it clear. I revise from, let's say I graded some projects this time and they kept messing up this one topic. I wasn't giving a lot of full credit. I tell it to clarify that and I revise it for the next semester. And so I use it to make rubrics. I honestly cannot even think of things I don't use it for besides not putting my student information. Another great way to use it is to use like a traditional textbook problem that you can easily find in an OER, put it in there and tell it to turn it into an active learning assignment. I have it make lesson plans. I just be very specific with what I want in the classroom and I let it help me think of different possibilities. All right. So time rolls fast. So if anything in you want in this PowerPoint, I will share it. Like I said, let me just go ahead and put my email on here so you can see it. But if anyone has any questions, please pick up. And Kim, if you've seen any, let me know. Thank you, Kim. She put it in the chat. AI Tutor Pro is excellent for that. Good. Oh, I didn't show you Notebook. Okay. I'm going to do this real quick, but please ask questions because I'm just moving things around. So if you go over here, I think it's over here now. When you open the sidebar. Oh, since I don't have any in here, maybe it's not. But that's interesting. Nope. Okay. I'm going to move this down. So Notebook LM is another Google product, but what I really like about it is you can go in and as you saw was looking at some of mine. But you can upload files, certain websites you want it to look at and drive, and it will automatically pull from those. And what's even better is over here to the right, you can give it a summary. It can give you an audio overview. It can make slide decks, and it actually does really good sometimes. Sometimes I have to revise it, and you can't easily revise them in here. So sometimes I have to work harder with it, but report, quiz, data table, infographic, flashcards, mind map. I love this product here. It really saves me some time. Oh, this person said I had students create simple tests using earlier tests for review. Beautiful. I do that too. Any other thoughts or questions?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, sorry. You are doing
You're fine.
good. I'm sorry to disturb because there was some glitch. I am concerned about this notebook. Can you repeat for 1 minute regarding the notebook?
Yeah, hold on. I'm just going to go into
Thank you.
my Gemini so I can show you a little bit better because I do have one notebook that I don't mind. So if I open the sidebar, you can see here I have notebooks. So action is a grant that I have. So as you can see, it will save things that I've worked on, but in here it remembers things for me. So if I even just ask it, what is action? It's going to be able to tell me what that is. And action is the grant that I have. So within this notebook, what I have done is I have given it all of the information that it needs, and it will pull from that information to tell me exactly the information that I'm looking for. That's what Notebook is wonderful for. And if you open it, not in here, but in this Notebook LM setting, when it pulls this information, I can have it automatically create a slide deck just by clicking that. This one has no information, so it's not going to create one, but it's going to tell you what to do. Upload your PDF, paste in a URL, tell it what you want, and it's going to be able to create it. So I think it's a great resource to start playing with.
Thank you so much. Actually, I am using OneNote. So this is a new feature which I'm eager to learn. I will explore after your presentation. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And someone here is asking if I can explain more about the approach for using AI. I'm not sure if this was asked before or after I talked about the green, yellow, red, but I do tell them if they can. When it comes to discussion prompts, I put yellow, which means you need to revise everything. So I will let them use AI to help formalize what they're trying to say, but they have to put it, I tell them they need to put their own spin. They need to use their words. It's not just a copy paste from AI, but I do allow them to work with it, to think with it. And I will demonstrate this in class because I find that they don't know how to do it. And yes, I do provide the human sandwich and the rice framework in my syllabus. And not day one, but about day 2 or 3, I will show them ethical ways of using it and prompts so that they can learn how best to use it. If anyone has any other questions, I'm right here. Sorry if there was audio static. My internet might not have been great. Sorry, y'all. I really tried.
So, Carrie, thank you so much. I know there are I think there are several other questions in the chat, and we are going to have some time, some chat and chew time, after the third, webinar. So I don't know whether you would be able to come back and jump in and join that, or but one of the rooms is going to be an AI room. So maybe some other people can answer, because some of you have done a great job of answering each other's questions. So that's part of why I didn't try to ask everybody's question. And I know there were lots of them that I missed. So I do apologize for that. So, but thank you so very much. That was so interesting. And oh my gosh, I learned so much. So yes, so wonderful and eye-opening. And so thank you very much for sharing. So, and like I said, I hope you'll be able to join our chat and chew in just a little while. So, and if not, maybe we can, we've been talking about these things called roundtable discussions later on. So maybe we can invite you to kind of help us out with a roundtable discussion later on. So
Yes,
thank you so very
I'm
much.
here for the next 3 hours, but anything after that, I am free. So please let me know, invite me. I will jump back in.
Sounds good. Thank you so very much.
Thanks, everyone.